I kind of didn't want to make this a thing. Number one, it's quite freezing. And my hands are kind of cold. But anyways, we out here now. I'm literally trying to get to this place of authenticity. And I keep saying it, but I'll argue against myself. Because authenticity is always ahead of you, not behind you. I used to scroll through my camera roll, looking at the places where I thought I was happiest, and the times when I was, most prosperous and felt like myself and all that good, great stuff. And I realized my authenticity is not behind me, it's ahead of me. It's not behind me, it's ahead of me. I can keep looking back, and the only thing that I'll be able to do effectively is be that person. But I'm no longer that person. So standing in authenticity isn't about looking backwards, trying to get back to a place I've been. It's about being open to wherever it is that God is trying to take me and standing firm in that person today. You got to wake up every day and give it the best you got. That is standing in your authenticity. It's saying, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I'm going to give it the best I've got. And so, anyways, I'm on this walk. I was not going to turn this on. Hands are freezing. But I wanted to say something. I can't remember. But I'm low-key trying to remember. What was I going to say? I don't know, but I'll just talk about what I was going to talk about was this. You got to be bold in 2023. What worked last year, there's this saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll only be where you've always been. You've got to switch it up. I find that our biggest, hold on, because I'm about to jaywalk. I find that our biggest, what would you say, problem is we're not bold enough. I mean, this just gets into faith and believing in yourself in general. You got to be bold. When you really believe in yourself, you're bold. When you look at the Steve Jobs, when you look at the Jeff Bezos, when you look at the Mark Zuckerberg, when you look at those people, they were bold. I mean, we can even look at the Obamas. They were bold. Bold enough to say, I really can be the first black president, and stand on it and go out there and put the action behind their faith. Faith without works is dead. They were bold, You've got to be bold. I always tell you guys that your life is a reflection of your faith. And if you watch just, self-improvement, business development videos and all that good, great stuff, they'll say that wealthy people, what differentiates them from the rest is they believe they can. They just believe they can do more. They believe that anything they want, they can get. They just think highly of themselves. Uh-oh, not there. It's a loose dog. That's it. It's nothing more to it. Shout out to the dog. I don't even think I can see it. That was literally it, And that's literally what the Bible tells us. Jesus says, believe before you pray and you'll receive it. Believe you could do all things. Believe. Abraham believed and it was counted unto him as righteousness. It literally tells you to just be bold enough to believe. I was walking past this subdivision that they're building. I was walking past, I was like, I looked inside. It was like this little cement structure in the middle. It looked like it would be like a courtyard area, in the middle of the entire subdivision, maybe a park or something, who knows. Then I was like, this is going to be for houses. Then as I was walking, I saw the sign and it was like, you can go on the website, homes coming soon. So I was like, let me see what their mottos look like. It said motto coming soon, to go on the website, all this great stuff. I went on the website thinking maybe they'll have a digital motto, something. They didn't have nothing. It said floor plan coming soon. It said community map coming soon. Everything said coming soon. I said, they ain't got nothing but the vision. God said that was enough. I posted this video on my TikTok. God said that was enough. They said we bought the land. They said we put these the brick wall up. We even built a cement thing in the middle. And that's enough. This is the season where God says you do not have to have it all together. You just got to be bold enough to move on the idea. Hold on, y'all didn't hear me. God says just be bold enough to move on the idea. Lord, it doesn't make sense. I don't have the resources. I don't have the people. God says just move on the idea. I'm low-key putting the camera down so y'all cannot see my location. Yeah, we're going to be looking up at the sky for a minute. Y'all ain't about to figure out what my location be. I ain't about to drop a pin for y'all. Hi, Ops. Another Ops are watching. Hi, Ops. He says be bold. Oh, this is so cute. They have people tending to the garden. Be bold, be bold. God says be bold. The woman with the issue of blood was bold. That's bold. That was a bold move. You gonna go and grab the Lord Jesus as he's passing by? Girl, he didn't come here for you. He wasn't thinking about you. You weren't a thought on his mind. This wasn't divinely orchestrated. You just were bold enough to step out on opportunity. God says, I'm going to respond to those who are bold enough to step out on opportunity. No. I'm not saying you have to have it all together. I'm not saying it needs to all make sense. I'm not saying you need to have all the resources. I'm not saying you even need to know who's going to be a part of your team. All I'm saying is that you've got to be willing to step out on bold faith just to take advantage of the opportunity, because the opportunity will present itself in the idea. The opportunity will present itself in the idea. Which means if you do not step out on the idea, you do not get the opportunity. But if you are bold enough to step out on the idea, the opportunity lies on the other side of your yes. Obedience is better than sacrifice. But we don't ever want to be obedient. God says go, we say no. But obedience is better than sacrifice. He says everything you've been wishing for, waiting for, hoping for is on the other side of your yes. I just need you to step out on the idea. And that's where we get stumped. We get stumped in the overthinking. We get stumped in what doesn't make sense. We get stumped on how it's not going to work out. We start picking all the negatives out and not highlighting the positives. The positive is I got an idea that somebody else don't have. The positive is that clearly I'm a disruptive thinker and I'm set apart. Clearly there is something more inside of me that the average person can't live up to. But yet I would rather point out the negatives and say what I don't have instead of highlight what I do have, not understanding that the little bit that I have, God will take it and multiply it. This is the season for bold faith. It's the season for bold moves. Okay, now I'm getting hot. Hallelujah. My question to you is this. Are you going to be bold enough to take advantage of the opportunity? Because the opportunity only lies behind the yes. Behind the yes, behind the yes. Oh, how often we're waiting for the opportunity for us to give the yes. God says, no, give me the yes, and I'll give the opportunity. But the problem is also, we want comfortable. Yeah. We might pray these big prayers. We might ask for these great things, but truth be told, we just want to be comfortable. We don't really want to live life in disruption. We want comfort. We want easy. We don't want to have to go out and possess it. God says, go and possess the land. The children of Israel, when they got in the promised land, still had to possess the promised land. It was theirs. It was assigned to them. God already said, this is your land, but he also set it up that they had to possess what was theirs. So had they not said yes, they would have lost and fumbled the ball of opportunity because of their disobedience. I will highlight the fact that they fumbled a lot of opportunities because of their disobedience, but we serve a God who doesn't leave us out there to fail, but he loops back around and gives us another chance. God says you have another chance, but are you going to be bold enough to take advantage of it? This ain't just going to happen because you want it to happen. It ain't just gonna happen because you're wishing for it to happen. It's gonna happen because you were bold enough to move on the idea. Understand that the answer is not so high that you must go up to the sky and grab it, nor is it so low that you gotta stoop all the way down to get it, but it's right near you. It's in your mouth. Deuteronomy 30. Are you gonna be bold enough I mean, it really gets no simpler than that. The problem is we just get stuck at being bold. Why do we get stuck at being bold? If we had opposition, crazy opposition, okay, I could say, we got stuck at the opposition. If there were so many things that weren't lining up, I could say, okay, we got stuck at what didn't line up. But we are up here getting stuck at being bold. God has called us and created us to be disruptive thinkers, but we're getting stuck at being bold. We're getting stuck at being chain breakers. We're getting stuck at possessing the promise and walking into our destiny. The question becomes, why do we get stuck? What causes us to get stuck? It's the way we think. I don't know where, and I was asking this question the other day, where did we all get into this place of not honoring ourselves? Where did we get into this toxic humility that says, I'm not going to acknowledge my strengths, I'm only going to focus on my weaknesses? When did we get into this self-sabotage, imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is when you're actually amazing, you just don't think it and don't acknowledge it. See. Arrogance is when you're drawing from something you're not. You have a lot of money, so you think you're all this and all that, but if we took your money away from you, you'd really be nothing. That's arrogance. Imposter syndrome is when you're amazing and you actually don't honor yourself for how amazing you actually are, right? So I live life beneath who God has called me to be. Because every time I show up in that capacity, I think that I'm faking. I think that it's a facade. I think that it's false. Not recognizing that God is continuing to hold up a mirror trying to show me who I am. He's trying to confirm me through people. He's trying to give me the evidence of my history to show me how amazing I am. But I won't actually grab it and walk into it. Why do we sabotage ourselves? When did we start thinking in ways that put us down and not lifted us up? It starts as a child, I think about my brother. My mom had him. Well, she asked me, how to work with him. You know what I'm saying, right? And I was like, well, you need to start building up and not tearing down. I say one of the worst things that you did was you tore me down more than you built me up, thinking that tearing me down was building me up. Well, that's not how you build. It literally doesn't make sense. I can't tear something down and think that I'm building it up. No, I can tear something down and rebuild something, but I can't tear something down and, it be built up. I said, you've got to build him up. Instead of focusing on what he does wrong, highlight what he does right and push him into the good behavior. I said, okay, have him write down. I said, my handwriting's amazing and I can write because she used to have me sit writing and crazy stuff, right? I'm not even going to get into it. And at the moment, it wasn't the best feeling. I didn't really like it at the moment. Who wants to sit there as a child just writing sentences and sentences and sentences? But, it was kind of some good in it. It was more so what you had me writing, not that you were having me write. Maybe if you had me writing something that was building me up and not rebuking me, then it would have been more beneficial. Moral of the story, I said, have him start writing, I am a leader. I think that was the first thing. I sent her a couple things. I think the first one was, I am a leader. He said, I am a leader, I am a leader. And then he just drew a line down, like connecting all the letters. It was smart, you know what I'm saying? It was disruptive thinking. Obviously, the task was to write, I am a leader, on each individual line. He said, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. And I'm going to connect the letters up and down. If it's like an I, I'm going to draw an I completely down for I am a leader. I am, I don't know what else. I think it was just the I's that he did that for. I was like, okay, look. She was like, look at this. See, he didn't do it right. I said, he didn't do it how you expected him to do it, but he did complete the task. You see, we punish children for being disruptive thinkers. I think about when she used to have me write, I would do the same thing. I just made it look a little better than him. He didn't really care. He said, I'm going to give it to you how I give it to you, and I don't care. Me, I said, I'm going to package it and make it look good, though I did the same thing. So she couldn't catch on to my drift. But I would do the exact same thing because I'm a disruptive thinker. He's a disruptive thinker. Children come into this world as disruptive thinkers, but then we try to conform them to our caged way of thinking because we didn't achieve and we didn't accomplish and because we were subject to low ways of thinking. Now we're trying to push them down into the same thing. Not that there's malicious intent behind it, but you cannot be what you have not been exposed to. And if I have not been exposed to disruptive ways of thinking, I can't expose my child to it either. So it starts at a young age where our parents who were not disruptive thinkers, or rather not given the permission to be disruptive thinkers, then start putting that same toxic parenting on us as well. So now we have this subconscious system that says being bold is bad. Oftentimes, children aren't really bad. They're just disruptive and don't know how to channel their creativity. Bad is when you have kids. I mean, bad is bad, okay? They are as bad. Like, oh, you're bad. That's just like criminals. Oh, you're bad. You were killing people. That's why you're in jail. But then there's people that just made bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag free me. But it starts at a young age. Oppression. Why are black people so oppressed today? Well, it's because we got rid of slave masters just for our parents to become the masters that once oppressed us. Whipping children with belts, beating kids, just like the slave used to beat us. You're no different. Calling your child different names and rebuking your child. Not even rebuking, I want to say something different. Abusing, but verbally abusing your child. Mentally abusing, emotionally traumatizing your child, just as the slave master was doing. It's no better. We have become our own oppressors. So I can't look to my parents to lift me up. And for some reason, I can't look to myself because I'm suppressing myself as well. I've got self-sabotage. I've got family sabotage. Who do I turn to? Jesus says, I went back to Nazareth. I went back home. I increased in the world. I've got this power. I'm able to heal the sick, let the blind see. I'm going to go back home because if I made it out of home, I want to lift up the people back at home. He goes back to Nazareth and they say, who are you? Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother Mary? Aren't his sisters still with us? Aren't his brothers X, Y, and Z? Who are you? So Jesus says a prophet is only without honor in his own country, in his own home, amongst his own people. And he could not perform many miracles in Nazareth because they didn't believe. Self-sabotage, the sabotage of community. Where do I turn for breakthrough? God says be bold. When you're in a season of transition, when you're in a season of development, the only person you can turn to is God. I can't turn to myself. I'm going to end up sabotaging myself. I can't turn to my family. They're not able to see it how I see it. They don't even see me how God sees me. I can't go to my community. I can't even go to my friends. All I can do is go to God and trust that as I go to him, he will direct me to everyone else. He will bring everyone else to me. I've got to go to him. So when it comes to us being bold, we allow the insecurity attached to boldness because I'm breaking out of this shell. So I'm insecure because I can be comfortable in the cage that I've been in my whole life. I've learned the parameters. I've learned how far I can go. I've learned what I can do. But I get insecure when I begin to step out of that box. I have no confidence in the unknown. So I step out into this vulnerable place. I was bold enough to say, Lord, if it's you, command me to come to you on the water. So I step out and I'm walking on the water. I'm in this bold place. I've got insecurity chasing after me. I've got fear chasing after me. I've got inadequacy chasing after me. Depression's trying to knock on my door. Trauma is trying to knock on my door. Trial and tribulation is trying to knock on my door. Negative ways of thinking, imposter syndrome. What is it? I don't know. I don't have another word, but all these bad things are trying to knock on the door and pull me backwards. But I'm yet on the water and I'm still walking. Jesus is in front of me saying, keep on going. You got out here, keep on going. But everything else is calling me. So I'm starting to look around. And so then Peter begins to sink on the water he was once walking, sink in the water he was once walking on. Because though he stepped out in bold faith, he began to lose it while he was on the water Because he took his eyes off the person who was out there with him. Let me give it to y'all a little bit better. Let me give it to you like this, right? Had Peter just had this idea and stepped out on the water by himself, Peter yet would have sank. He would have drowned. It never would have happened. He would have went to go step in the water and he would have splashed into the water, right? If he did it by himself. But because Peter had the idea and he stepped out not just by himself, but with God on the water with him, it was almost as if God gave him the idea to begin with, because he said, I will be with you. Peter steps off the boat into the water with Jesus. So he was able to walk on the water with the idea because God was with him. You have to understand that when you make this bold move, you're not making the bold move by yourself. You have to understand that the fact that you even had the idea came from God in the first place. He who searches the heart knows the mind of the Spirit. If you seek after him, he'll give you the idea. For the Bible says that he'll give us the desires of our heart. So I'm only stepping out on an idea that he already has given unto me. And when I step out on the idea, I won't be stepping out in it by myself, but I'm stepping out in the faith of the Lord. So then as I'm walking, the Bible says that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. I began to find out that it was already set up to begin with. I just had to step out on bold faith. I didn't have to do too much but step. I didn't have to do too much. I just had to step. I didn't have to think too hard. I just had to make a move. Sometimes we get so caught up in the thinking that we forsake the moving. Sometimes you got to shut down your thinking and say, I'm just going to go. Does it make sense? I don't know, but I'm just going to go. I'm going to trust that God is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, that if I take the step, he won't leave me out there to dry by myself. You just got to take the step. You just got to take the step. God says, be bold. What is stopping you from being bold in this season? What is preventing you from being bold in this season? Are you around the wrong people? Are you in the wrong places? Are you talking to yourself in detrimental ways, or are you building yourself up? God says, stop. Stop being your worst enemy. Stop finding every reason to go against me. Stop trying to find a reason to reject me and just step out on faith. God says it's all about faith. It was faith with Abraham. It was faith with Adam. It was faith with Eve. It's faith with Jesus. He got into the garden and he said, Lord, I don't know if I can go further, but faith says we've got to get this thing done. So not my will, but yours. So Jesus accomplished what Adam had failed at, which was standing in faith. It was all about faith to begin with. It was all about faith. Being bold is not about thought. It's about action. It's about faith. Had the woman with the issue of blood stayed in her mind thinking about the possibility of the idea. Is it possible? Can it work? If I step out, what's going to happen? She would have missed her miracle. Miracles don't need thought. Miracles don't even really need your participation. They just need your yes. They just need your move. She would have missed it. A divine moment. But here's the challenge. Your challenge is to keep your eyes on Jesus once you step out into it, because we out here now. I've been watching John Hannah. He preached at the Potter's house on Sunday, and he was amazing. I'm loving him now. He's really awesome. Oh, that's where I started with me getting in my authenticity. We'll loop back to that in a second. And he was like, we out here now, and I like that. We out here now. I done stepped out on bold faith. I'm out here in the middle of the water. What sense does it make to take my eyes off Jesus now when I'm out here in the water? What sense does it make for me to give up now when I'm already out here? I told you guys before, I saw a quote that said, if you're going through hell, don't stop here. Who wants to end in hell? I'm out here on the water. I can't just get stuck right here on the water. I ain't even reached Jesus. Peter didn't even reach Jesus. He said, command me to come to you. He didn't say, command me to just step on the water. He said, command me to come to you. So Peter didn't even reach Jesus before he took his eyes off Jesus. You had bold enough faith to step out of the boat and onto the water, but you weren't bold enough to keep your eyes on Jesus. It wasn't about you maintaining level on the water. It wasn't about you keeping your balance or walking a certain way. God says, all I need you to do is keep your eyes on me, and you just took your eyes off me. What? I stepped out into the water. I didn't even make it to you. And I took my eyes off you. The fact that I didn't even get to you is the reason I should have left my eyes on you anyways. I didn't step out here for nothing. I stepped out here to find you. So yes, Lord, I'm out here and I'm going to keep my eyes on you till I reach you. Y'all be scared. They say where you're irritated is where you're anointed to be. I'm so sick of people commenting about all this fear. Oh, I'm scared of the end times. Oh, I'm scared of the devil. I'm scared of this and I'm scared of that. Get out of my face. God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. What are you scared for? What are you scared for? What are you scared? What are you scared for? 2 Timothy 1:7, I believe. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind and self-discipline. If you are experiencing anxiety, bring your body subject to your spirit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this fear. Where did you get that from? That fear is not of you. That's of Satan. Going back to authenticity, right? I don't know if I wrapped it in a bow. We're going to touch on it again because I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get to this level of authenticity. So I watch these preachers. What I love about John Hannah is that he was authentic. He went up there, he was him. He was falling all over the stage. He was doing his thing, and he set the place on fire. Sarah Jakes Roberts, she goes up there and she's her. Torrey, he goes up there, he's him. Bishop, he's him. Can't nobody be Bishop. Can't nobody be Torrey. Can't nobody be Sarah. Can't nobody be Pastor John Hannah. Can't nobody be Bishop Joel Tobin. I mean, prophecy. Bishop Joel Tubman is a bishop, I do believe. And can't nobody be him. Can't nobody be him. So I look at myself. Every time I try to go live and all this stuff like this, right? 2 things happen. Number 1, I start to feel imposter syndrome. I start to feel like I'm playing dress up. I can't think of the word, but I feel like I'm not in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Well, I can't think of it, but it's when you show up and it's all fake and then you leave the moment and you were just playing dress up. If you know, you know. Nevertheless, I feel like that sometimes. And it's hard to be authentic in the moment if I'm only playing dress up. I'm starting to rest in the fact of who I am, right? Let me get off this grass, y'all, because my allergy's going to end up acting up in a minute. Right? I'm resting in it, right? Authenticity. I'm like, okay, how do I show up as me? I'm like, I don't want to be up here preaching these messages. I don't want to be up here having these conversations with people and I'm mimicking other people. I said the other day, if you show up as somebody else who already got their blessing attached to them, you ain't get no blessing, right? Bishop Jakes is already the only Bishop Jakes. He got the Bishop Jakes blessing. So if I show up trying to imitate Bishop Jakes, it ain't no blessing for me because that blessing's already taken. I've got to get the Robin blessing. You've got to get the Karen blessing or whatever your name might be. You've got to get that blessing, right? And that only comes by you being you. So I say, Lord, who am I? What's my authenticity? How do I show up as this person? So I look at old pictures. I look at when I had money. Okay, how was I acting then? Not like myself. I was letting money define who I was. So no, can't even use that for reference. Who was I here? Who was I there? I keep on looking back. God says it's in front of you. You just got to be bold enough to step out with limited information. We get stuck in the unknown, not knowing that is what walking with God is. It's uncertainty. Jesus was God. Literally. Period. Bottom line. He knew what he was doing. I'm going out here and I'm minding my business. I'm Jesus. I know the Son of Man got to get on the cross. I know all of this is happening. When the Son of Man shall return, only the Father knows that much, but I know everything else for the most part. Everything that he knows, he doesn't share with me, but that only he knows that part. Jesus was God. Jesus had disciples. The disciples walked with Jesus lacking information. They trust the person that was leading them. They trusted that Jesus, since Jesus was leading them, he would only lead them somewhere good. I want to say that a little better to say this. It didn't matter where Jesus was leading them. They just trusted that Jesus was leading them. We keep looking for all this information instead of resting in the fact that Jesus is leading us. If I just have Jesus leading me, it doesn't matter where we go. It doesn't matter what we do because I'm with Jesus. But y'all don't really want to be with Jesus. You want it to be your way. You want it to go how you want it to go. Because Jesus isn't really enough. Yeah. We sit up here and we act like he's enough, but truth be told, he's not enough. Because if Jesus was enough, you would step out on bold faith. If Jesus was enough, you would say, if I just touch the hem of his garment, I'll be made whole. If Jesus was enough, you say, Lord, no, I'm not worthy for you to come in my house, but just speak a word and I'll be made whole, because you're enough. And I know that if you're in it, I know if you place your word on it, that it'll be all right. I know that simply by your word, Peter, come, I'll be able to walk on what I would have sank in simply because I was walking on your word. But Jesus isn't really enough. Maybe if Jesus was enough, I wouldn't have to wonder about my authenticity. I'd be available for whoever it was that he was showing me that I am. But I keep on trying to figure this thing out by myself. So I come to find that the greatest thing that we can do in this season is move out of our own way and say, Lord, nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. If it's for your glory, I'll say yes, Lord God. If you're in it, I say yes. Just don't leave me out here hanging by myself. But God says this, I will not leave you or forsake you. If I say do it, it's because I'm on the other side of it, waiting on you. What are you going to do? Are you going to be bold enough to say yes? Are you going to step out on bold faith? No, wait. I don't want you to just step out on bold faith and say, God, I stepped out and I did it, and then take your eyes off of him while you're in it. Are you going to be bold enough to take the step, and even bolder to maintain your posture that says yes? Oh God, I'm not going to change my yes. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to take my eyes off of you, but I'm going to set my eyes on you, for I know my help comes from you, Jesus. I know that if you be lifted up, you'll draw all into you. So at the very least, when I'm feeling low, I just make you high, and I come to find that I get lifted up with you as well. Are you going to lose your faith, or are you going to stand firm in it? Because faith doesn't matter when everything is going good. Faith matters when everything is going bad. What do I need to have faith for when I've got all the facts? If the bills are paid, if my accounts are funded, right? If I've got the stock portfolio to back me up, I've got the resources, I've got the liquid, what do I need faith for? I've got the fact to prove that it's all going to work out. Faith is for when nothing else makes sense but God. But God. Nothing else makes sense but God. I don't know how, but God. Listen. If God be for you, who can be against you? I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know what's going to happen. All I do all I know is that if God is for me, nothing can be against me. I know that if I step out on this water and God is for me, then the water can't be against me. So if I step out in bold faith, it doesn't matter what is said when I'm standing on the water. I'm here now. We out here now. Because I'm not out here by myself, but I've got help. The problem is you think that if you take the step, you're going to be out there by yourself. God says, no, when you take the step, you'll actually be with me. I said, listen, God, no one ever encountered Jesus and was left the same. People were healed, people were delivered, people were set free, but there was no one who was left the same. No one remained bound when they had a true encounter with Jesus. You can't say you've really encountered Jesus because you're still bound. God says, if you want to have a real encounter with me, I need you to step out on bold faith. I need you to stop thinking and start going. God says go. God says put one foot in front of the other and trust that every single step you take, I'll reveal the next one to you. I won't leave you out here to dry. I won't leave you out here hanging. I won't let you do it by yourself. I'm in this with you. You will not fail because I'm standing by your side. Then at the end of the day, when you step out on the water and succeed where Peter failed, you keep your eyes on Jesus and you start to understand who you are. I really can do anything. I was bold enough to move and it worked for my good. I really can do anything. I was bold enough to step and it worked for my good. I was bold enough and it worked for my good. I was bold enough and it worked for my good. I was bold enough and it worked for my good. I was bold enough and it worked for my good. So as I begin to understand who Jesus is, I get a better revelation of who I am. And it all starts with taking a step. Authenticity is ahead of you. Ascension, it's going higher, rising higher. I count myself not to have apprehended or having yet been perfected, but forgetting that which is behind me and pressing forward to what's ahead of me. I understand that I've got an upward call. I understand that there's greater ahead of me. I understand that I haven't seen my best days yet. I understand that God hasn't even put in my heart what it is that he shall do to me exceedingly abundantly above all you may ask or think. Neither has entered into the heart of man what it is that God has for his children. You've just got to believe. It doesn't matter what they told you couldn't do. It doesn't matter what they told you was impossible. It's impossible for them, but all things are possible with God. It was impossible for them. Had Joe Schmuck tried to step out on the water, he would have sank and ultimately drowned. God says, no, what Joe Schmuck would have sunk in, you are going to walk on because I'm with you. I'll add this and then I'm done. Peter thought that he was about to drown, forgetting that God had already equipped him to swim. I won't call you out into something that you won't even be able to handle by yourself. Hold on. Wait a minute. Listen. Peter was able to walk on the water because of Jesus. But at the very least, if he began to sink because he took his eyes off Jesus, he had a backup plan because God equipped him to yet still survive. You're not going to walk on it without me, but I still won't let you drown in it. Because I've equipped you. I've prepared you. Everything that you've been through has prepared you for this moment. Everything that you've experienced has prepared you for this moment. You've got the skill set. You've got the knowledge. You've got the wisdom. You've got the power. You've got the spirit. And you've got the experience. All you've got to do is have faith. Had Peter yet still believed in his ability, he would have never worried about drowning. I may have taken my eyes off of you, Lord, but number one, I know that you're still out here with me, so drowning shouldn't even be an idea. I took my eyes off of you. I'm sinking, but I can't drown because you're out here with me nevertheless. I know how to swim. This ain't nothing new. I know how to swim. I was a fisherman. I know this. Then my goal is, okay, Lord, you've equipped me to sustain myself on this level, but I want to get back to walking on the water. Listen, be bold in 2023. That's all God wants from you is boldness. He don't want nothing more. Just be bold. Go with the idea. That's all you need. Stop looking at what don't work out. Stop looking at what you don't have. Stop looking at what doesn't make sense. And just trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. I'm out of here.